Hello, it is mid-September, midday here in Zone 6B, Mid-Hudson, New York, and it has been continually a dry summer, and it's time for us to really start putting the garden to rest. I did put some seeds in. There are some seedlings that have made their way into the garden for a fall harvest, hopefully. And then some seeds have been put in for maybe winter, maybe probably spring. But in the meantime, we have a lot to clean up. So before we do that, let's take one last look at the 2025 summer garden. Starting with the tomatoes. There's still a lot of green, but there's also a lot of leftover reds that are past their peak of picking. So I'm going to be busy with that task in a little bit. The tomatoes for sauce are looking quite well. And I've had plenty of these cherry tomatoes in like oven baked and things like that, just in some kind of vegetable medley. They've been really delicious. Down here, the seedlings I put in are doing okay. Now those were Brussels sprouts from the spring. I've yet to see any sprouts on them, but I haven't exactly been caring of this area. Like, the soil is very clayey. Here's another bunch of brassicas that I haven't really paid much attention to, but they look healthy enough. They haven't gotten too much bug damage of any kind. They are starting to go out. Here's one of the ground cherries that I've only recently started to enjoy the fruits of. And this bed also has a couple of broccolis and a few more cabbages. We get some moths trapped in there, not necessarily the cabbage, but oh, see, that one's definitely been ravaged by the caterpillar. But I'm not as concerned with these at the moment. At this point, survival of the fittest. And I've come to pretty much a realization that brassicas, the broccoli, the cauliflower, is really not for me in this property. So I'm gonna just use up the seeds I already have and then peter out that crop in general. The eggplant has only given me 2 fruit. I got a little finger out of this one, and I got a nice sized black beauty out of this one. But the rest have been stunted from the beginning. The okra has also been not a pleaser this year. I have gotten a few from that too, but not as much as they've produced in prior years. This is third year that they've been in this bed, so it is time to rotate them out. The corn produced well. The problem was me and the timing. I think I definitely put them in early, and so they were ready a lot earlier than I was ready to harvest them. I had meant to harvest them for Labor Day. And they were already like 3 weeks at least, beyond that. So while they tasted fine, they were not the sweet, juicy, summer corn that you would expect to get. They were more mealy already, something you would probably dry up and become flour. But they were what they were. Now, I did discover that they can overwinter. If you have a full cob or a large part of a cob and just sitting on the ground, just bare, even, it might survive, and it will come up the next year. This plant, not that one. 1, 2, 3. These 3 came from the same cob that was left here to decompose. They survived, and then the seeds came up. So my plan, and I believe this is the ambrosia, I believe this was the ambrosia. This is a good corn. The Martian Jewels is less sweet, less crunchy. Definitely more in keeping with like a grain. Oh, why do I keep saying grain? A flour type corn. But I left some of the old young, didn't come to full growth. I left them there because I want to do the same thing next year, replicate it, and just bury them. Like I would maybe cut it in 3 sections or 2 sections and bury them. I'm going to move them over to that side, or maybe that side. So here's one that's gone, already dried up. So that would be a contender. One of the ones that I would bury, or not even bury, just put on the ground and see if anything comes up in the spring. Also, I do know that people pay some money to get, corn stalks as decoration. So I have built-in decoration here once I start cleaning this up and use it for Halloween. Now over here, we had this volunteer tomato, cherry tomato, been a great producer of fruit. Also that one with the tinier red fruits. This bed has a few peppers in it still. This is a Jimmy Nardello, looking very nice. I've got a couple of poblanos back there, some shishito, and then what's this one? This is also a shishito, but not doing as well. This is a habanero, still very small. And then this ghost pepper never really got up too much. So these are contenders for overwintering. In this bed, still the same. I haven't really touched it. There were these magical beans that I didn't know I had, so I'm going to save seeds for those and try again next year in a more controlled environment. And then we've been eating the string beans that we've gotten. These are really good beans. Once they've gotten past the point though, the skin is very tough, but the beans itself are still perfectly edible. You just have to take the time to get them out. Now I found that boiling it or steaming it even and softening the skin, that will release the seeds a lot easier for you. Now in this bed we have some Thai chili. I got quite a bit of that to harvest. We have a nice crop of marigold here. I really like this variety. My dill, a few dill sprigs here. There should be more. I think I lost them, or they were just too shaded out. Yeah, these are all too shaded out to grow very well. But once I clean this bed up, maybe they'll have enough time to strengthen up. More peppers back here. This, which one's this? Let's see if I can find the tag under here. Not really. Oh, they've faded out. What did that say? Oh, this is a mini. This was a saved seed. Oh yeah, the mini bell that I called it. It's a tiny. Can you see it? Looks like that. It's a spicy one. There's some numbers there. This one looks like. Okay, this is the sweet banana. Nice. Another Jimmy Nardello over there. These also look like, this is a lot. Wow. Since it's green, I hadn't really seen how many fruits was on this. Why are there so many? And what is this? This is also banana? Wow. This plant is ridiculous. Look at it. It's completely covered. What happened? Why was this plant doing so well? I must have found some resource under there. What else we have under here? I think that's the majority of it. I can't get to the other side, and we still have the beans drying here for me to save seeds, or eat them as dried seeds. Coming around, we still have the onions in the ground. Since I don't have enough onions to save over winter, I just found, since we haven't had any rain, that leaving them in the soil wasn't really hurting anybody, and it was one less thing that I had to find a home for. What else? Alright, coming around, here are a few lettuce that I had started off in August and planted out not too long ago. They're coming along. The Geranium Kiss and the whatchamacallit, Tiny Tim are done. Tiny Tim before the Geranium, and wasn't the best scenario with this whole bag thing in the grow bag system. Over here is a Mizuna that has gone to flower, which is fine. I don't mind having this plant self-seed at all. Only one so far, but I'm sure in the years to come we'll have plenty of Mizuna coming. This is either an amaranth or, yeah, it's probably an amaranth. This self-seeded or a bird seeded it. So there's a couple of these all around the property. And then my mung beans I've been letting them dry because that's typically how you use it, but something has been coming around and stealing them. So I've lost quite a bit of mung beans to that, which is really annoying because I had a really nice crop of that. Over here we have some really good, a couple of good looking radish or turnips. I can't even remember what's in here. So they might even be past their prime, but we'll harvest. But at the same time, I'm thinking, don't you wait till it gets cold and then the starch, sweetens the fruit, and that's when you pick some of these things. So there is that mentality I'm going for, and why I haven't picked a whole bunch of stuff. Over here is a bed of, it was a bed of beets, but it had been ravaged pretty early on, but there's still a few plants hanging on, but it's just leaves at this point, and otherwise weeds. Now this russet potato, which I had bought from the supermarket, is doing really well. I saw there was some taters poking out, so I covered them up, but there's at least this bag of potatoes. This bag also had those potatoes, but nothing has come up, or either they're just resting, or they'll come up later, or they got rotted out. So I put in these kohlrabi to grow until if the potato comes or not. This bed is still the holding place for this fig, and also the sad celery. This bed definitely in need of being picked already is rutabaga. No, kohlrabi. This is kohlrabi. So only not the best looking. This actually wasn't planted all that long ago. It was in the summer as opposed to the spring when I did plant some other ones. So this does have time to grow, but it's really getting wrecked by the aphids and other bugs. Now this rutabaga bag is definitely powder mildew sadness. It has been taken over, but there are a few sizable, really nice looking food in there. And then this bag is just my Swiss chard, which I've been picking out of here and there for consumption. So I let this volunteer Sweet Annie grow and grow and grow, and now trying to get through here is always a hurdle because there's so much to get through. Alright. It smells so good though. Every time I walk past that thing. So delicious. Nothing much to report here. The blueberries are alive. These are what I'm going to be moving. I believe I misspoke the other time and said strawberries. I meant I'm going to be moving the blueberries over to a different area of the garden. And then these are done already. The ground cherry that I didn't get to taste any of the fruit. I'm always too late. Every time I look at it, it's only got green fruit. And the fruits that are ready have already been eaten. So yeah, that's not the year for me. I have watered here and there because I didn't want certain things to suffer. But this lantana looks like it needs watering again. I think this is called a pokeberry or something. I didn't really look it up, but I know it's just a weed. But I liked it. I liked the colors, so I left it there with my lobelia. Oh, I see there's a volunteer mustard green growing in there. Yay. Look, it's just so beautiful. I'm so excited for next year doing this over again. And my Mexican mint still doing very well. It's starting to flower. And this is a turnip container, so that also should be watered soon or it might bolt on me too quickly. Down here is the green stalk. I actually took advantage of the BOGO sale they had a couple of days ago and picked up, it's like a 3-tier, so it would be just, but it's a 8-gallon per, so maybe it's a little bit wider because I thought this was only 7 gallons per tier, unless they've already made it bigger since I've gotten these, which has been a few years now. So I got, it's buy one get one, so you get 3 of those. And I feel like certain plants I just want to start having in a contained space. I'm just so tired of the weeds and everything. There was a huge, there it is, praying mantis. It's living here for some reason, so that's cool. It's gigantic. And I've seen babies in other parts of the yard, but like earlier in the summer. The winter savory is looking really nice. I can't believe how beautiful it is. Whereas the summer savory definitely isn't going to make it through, and never looked quite as good. I'm still getting bips and bops of fruit from my ever-bearing strawberries, which I love. And then some of the lettuce that I plugged in, this is arugula. Some of the lettuce I plugged in here are doing quite well, and I expect a little bit of salad before winter takes over. I should turn this. I haven't turned this in a while. Alright. These sunflowers are done. Just drying up. I'll probably give these to the birds. These are tiny seeds. Not worth personal consumption. The peas are looking pretty sad, but they're starting to flower, so there's that. I actually plugged in a eggplant plant here also. And this parsley is just living. This pumpkin is still alive. That's good. One of the few. And then the fennel is doing pretty well. And I plugged in a couple of dark opal basil to see how long they would get before the weather got them. And the zucchini, I don't expect much out of those. And here is still a living watermelon plant, but it's just for decor at this point. And this, haven't eaten that. Ooh, surprise. Ooh, this is a treat. Oh my gosh, and it's perfectly ripe. The other ones I'd gotten weren't all that ripe. To preserve this memory of eating this, because it's very few and far between this season. Oh, it's perfect too. Just great. Ground cherry, I know anybody who has it really likes it. If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. Nothing new over here. The ginger's doing well. The mints, oh, I gotta water that too. That's the cinnamon basil. We are done. Nope, no we're not. Gosh darn it, these stinking cucumbers. Never know when to quit sometimes. That's a nice one. And I almost missed the window. There it is. One more cucumber till the season's over. Well, actually, there's quite a few more cukes coming along. This usually happens where the plant knows the season's almost over, so it starts pumping out a whole lot more plants. Of the 4 morning glories that I planted, only one produced any flower, which is a real bummer. Let me just move this cuke so that it doesn't get trapped in the fencing and get all squashed. Armenian cucumber was a no-show in this bed, and also the loofah did not come through unless I'm just not seeing it. This continues to live. This is leeks. I should feed these probably. And some celery. Most of the leeks I planted in the spring have decided to go to flower. And the carrots, I'm waiting for it to cool down before I look into harvesting them. But it looks like my best carrot harvest ever. Now, I believe, yeah, I was holding on because I saw some fruit on the zucchini, but then the fruits fizzled out or they got eaten. So definitely done with the zucchini in this bed, so I can take those out. I already took out a third one over there. The state of the sweet potatoes is yet to be determined. They don't look that robust as they have in prior years. Maybe I didn't put enough nutrients in this bed, but we'll have to wait and see when we harvest those. And some alyssum is trying to survive in amongst all the shade. And also, yeah, this is the morning glory that survived. That flowered for me. This one. Maybe this one will open sometime. Oh, I see. Whatchamacallit? I think that is part of that's part of the squash. The Moroccan squash. Squashes are notorious for trying to pump out fruit at the end of the season. And the Moroccan squash in particular has very long vines. Ridiculous. Anything else? Oh, there were a couple of melons in this bed, but it looks like they've been taken out recently, so no melons whatsoever. And then just a continuation of letting that dry out for the season. That's a random pumpkin. I'm not sure which one. Big Macs maybe, or the New York pie. Pumpkin pie. A butternut there. And then 1 and 2 Moroccan squashes. And then the acorn squash were completely annihilated. They had started giving out fruit. I had 2, and now it's disappeared, so that one's waiting to be taken away as well. Yum, yum, yum. Nothing beats an ever-bearing strawberry. This rosemary needs to be cut back so I can have some drying rosemary. I managed to keep this alive. It's supposed to be lemongrass, but it really should be potted better. So here's some areas that need to be cleaned up as well. The pumpkins are done. The vines are browned. And there's no more sustenance being taken up. So I have 5, I believe, or did I lose something? I had 5. No, 4. I had 4. Yes, I still have 4. I have 4 pumpkins, which is perfect for our family. Oh, right. We're not eating these. These are for decoration. Definitely done with sun gold. Whatever got to that bucket has also started to get into this bucket. There's still a couple of stalks left, and they're starting to go to flower, which is what you would expect. But it's not looking so good, is it? Now, I don't exactly know how I'm going to save the figs over winter, because usually I end up with vole damage girdling the trunks, or the dog for some reason is eating the plant. So it's going to be interesting. I pinched these mid-August, I think. So they're a lot pushier than they have been in the past. I learned that from Ross Ratty in Philly, and he was right. Now, typically you pinch if there's fruit, and then you want, the energy to go to the fruit. But it works this way too. It causes branching, and you get more fruit in the future. I have thornless raspberries in here. I don't know. It's probably too far away. You can't really see. There's some red in there. So there are a little bit of fruit despite the drought we had. It's still produced and they're still delicious. So when I get a chance, I go in and snack on the few that's there. There's also a blackberry, a thornless blackberry, but that one didn't fruit this year, so maybe next year might be one of those primocane, floricane situation, which is fruits on first year growth or fruits on second year growth. The zinnias have been fantastic. They've continued to deliver. The lack of moisture has kept the rust and the mildew away. For the most part, there's still rust, but it's not as much as it could have been. So it's a nice little hedge here of them. I'll try to do a better job of making them more presentable in the future. And the cosmos also still continue to pump out. They're on their way. You know, it's been a long summer for them, but they're still pretty here in this little part of the garden. The stinging nettle is on its way out also over here. Not so much by the chicken coop. They are perfectly healthy over there. But the, whatchamacallit? Comfrey. The comfrey looks great. I should definitely take advantage of that before it's too late. So I know mums are popular this time of year. They're practically the only thing they're selling at the garden centers where I'm at, other than celotias. But these are second and third year mums. And I remember at my last house, I had bought some and left it in the ground and planted it, and they blew up. They were gorgeous. So this one's doing the best. This one hasn't flowered yet. Now that one is like, did I say 3 years old? Yeah, 3 years old. It's puny, but it's alive, obviously. And then there's this other one here that isn't doing as well, but it's still alive too. But mums, if you like mums that much, plant them in your yard, and you will not have to keep buying mums every year. And a true testament to plants' will are these sunflowers. These were the most pathetic transplants you could ever see. And while for some reason I don't have as many of these, I thought I had more seeds, I only have this one stalk. But it's got 2 flowers, so that's pretty nice, I'd say. But look at this. I think this is just like called tall sunflower or something. Look at that beauty. That is a proper roasting sunflower seeds. It's a little late to like eat it raw, I think. I mean, not raw. Like if you roasted the whole head, it's a little late for that, I think. But I'm going to save some of these seeds because they came out fantastic. That one and that one, which is the same variety. Look at it. It's huge. And it had beautiful petals when it was in its prime. And I haven't watered here. Like I might have watered once. I'd say that. One time I watered. This is like next to the driveway. It's super hot. Super droughty. But they survived. They survived the rabbit. That was the main event that they had to overcome, was surviving the pest damage of getting eaten before they got here. But they did, and they have some great production. I have 3 heads that I'm going to be able to pick some very nice seeds off of. Nope, maybe more. I can't see that one. Oh, that one's hiding from me. Now, there have been years where I've gone like a caterpillar of some kind, nibbling on these, and I lost them. And even the birds haven't bothered them, so of course now that I've said it, they're going to be gone tomorrow. But let's hope not. I'm really enjoying this lamb's ear. It's so cute, and I'm pretty sure it'll just like spread through. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Yeah, because I've seen them in other people's yards where they're just everywhere. They're not a terrible thing to have overtake. Maybe. So yeah, the weeds have just gone ahead of me. And at this point, I'm really not in the mood. The flower, this is the flower stalk of the lamb's ear. And I'm not really sure, like, I haven't seen the actual seeds. I guess they're in there. So they're mainly seeding the driveway here, but at some point I'll trim these off. Nothing much going on. Oh, the sedum, the autumn sedum joy. The autumn joy sedum has flower. Look how cute. It's tiny still, but this was only like one stalk that I took from my friend's house. So I'm hoping in the future this will just give me more. And one of the Rudbeckias. This has become a real overgrown jungle over there. I had done some trimming more on this end. I need to start getting on that because that's bananas. And plenty of good food. And I'm starting to let these basil go to flower because, you know, the season's almost over. So there's no big rush for me to get these. But if I get the inkling, I'll pick some up. I'll pick some of the leaves. Another marigold variety. This self-seeds, volunteers every year, and has only gotten bigger and bigger, which I'm not unhappy about. But hopefully, typically the chamomile, which also self-seeding, comes up earlier in the spring and summer, and then the marigold comes in after them. So it's a nice combo there. The feverfew, on the other hand, is a bully and needs to be super controlled. So I have pulled some, but I still have, like, they've gotten over to this side here. I still have to keep that under control. And the Sweet William is another one that likes to take over, so that's something to keep watch on. See, more feverfew way over here. Now, I did sprinkle some cilantro, really hoping that they would come up on their own. But I'm not seeing much evidence that they have. So that's a bummer because I was really hoping to have cilantro in the fall. Well, here's some more of that amaranth. Is that what they called it? Coming up. So as far as the rice, we have success over in this bucket. Unfortunately, this was the smaller, only a few plants made it in here, but it's looking, well, it's not looking that great, I guess. It looks like something took hold of that, maybe like a rust? I don't know. Or is it just the end of the season? No, there's definitely rust. I can see it in the leaves. But yeah, you definitely need a self-contained container that's not going to leak out the fluids if you want something. Now these were seeded in later and it doesn't look like they're going to make it. So it's, for me here in zone 6, it's very important to start them early. I should even start them earlier because I don't think this is going to make it to the end of the season here. I think I started these beginning of May to be planted out in June. So I definitely need to get them in, not in because it's not warm enough, but I need to get them started more in the April time frame. So sadly, the only once looking good plant of bitter melon is not looking so great. There was one fruit that started, but I don't think that's going to make it. But in general, the plant is just very sickly. I'm not sure what to make out of these sweet potatoes, but the beans in here, well, did I harvest? No. The beans in here are doing okay. There were more pods, so something must have taken them. Now this is the main bed that I've been concentrating on because it has a cover already. And I could throw over a frost cloth when the cold really sets in. But I recently seeded some carrots, some beets, and some spinach. I am also in the process of putting in more Swiss chard, but those are currently like doing an overnight soak so that they come out of the seed faster. So that this is the main bed for the winter production, let's say. Now, the carrots in here are also waiting a cold spell. That's a nice size. There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, but they look like they did well also. So this was a good year for carrots, or so it looks. And the alyssum did well in here. This is a volunteer onion, not a volunteer, supermarket onion that I, it was starting to sprout. So I stuck it in here, and it's been here for like a couple of years now. It just grows and dies and grows and dies. Then I have some chives back on the side here that I plugged in this year. So I'm excited. I'm excited for those chives to keep coming on. The sun gold, I've definitely been enjoying snacking on. This plant was the main producer, I say. And it hasn't been that many, and I haven't needed it to be that many. I've been perfectly happy with the amount of sun gold I've been getting. And last but not least for today are these containers of rice, which are also showing grains, so that's good. But not nearly as well as that other bucket. And the plants are definitely a lot smaller. So that's another one that needs watering. Even though you're supposed to let it dry out by this point, but because it's got holes in it, it's draining out. It wasn't holding onto the water like you expect the other rice to do. So yeah, that needs to be watered more. And that's that for this September's garden tour. It always, I get to the end of the tour and I'm like, is that it? Have I showed them everything? And usually I haven't, because there's just always so much to see. But is it really worth it to show you? I'm really proud of myself for planting these hydrangeas here. This was like an established area with a lot of daylilies and the black-eyed Susan. But I found, I took up space and I filled in my hydrangeas. And here they are. Now this was the first one I bought. And it from the Lowe's or something, and it's always been rusty like this. But this was the best it's looked in the has it been 3 years I've had it? No, it's got to be 4 years now. This one's always been problematic, whereas that one and the Limelight and this one have done better, not as susceptible to disease. But not every year is a good year, like everything else. But man, oh man, I'm hoping for that to get taller, because it's at least supposed to get to 8 feet. And that would be really a nice, backdrop. Someday, we'll have constant good weather instead of this nonsense. Well, thank you for hanging out with me for this little bit and taking a walk around the garden. Yeah, it'll be a very different picture in October, I imagine. I would have cut down and harvested quite a bit. But we'll try to do a walk then too. Until then, I'll talk to y'all again soon. So I'll harvest more. Bye!